Okay, so you want to buy a ski resort. Here's the paradox nobody mentions on the brochure. Skiing is a business that depends entirely on something you cannot control, cannot buy, and cannot insure your way around forever: the weather. You can spend $375 million building the most exclusive private mountain in America, like Tim Blixeff did with the Yellowstone Club, and still end up in bankruptcy court with $40,000 left in the account. Or you can run 42 mountains across 3 continents, sell $1 billion of tickets before a single flake falls, and turn a warm winter into a record profit anyway. Same industry, same mountains, completely different outcome. And the difference isn't the snow, it's the business model sitting on top of it. Let's talk about what you're actually buying. Tier 1, the cheap entry. A small regional hill with a couple of surface lifts and modest terrain can be picked up for $2 million to $10 million, usually out of foreclosure, usually needing everything replaced. Tier 2, the real thing. A proper mid-size resort with multiple chairlifts, a base village, and real snowmaking coverage runs $50 million to $150 million once you count land, lifts, and infrastructure. Tier 3, destination resort. Think a Rocky Mountain scale operation with a golf course, private real estate, and championship terrain. Tamarack Resort in Idaho was planned as a $1.5 billion build-out with 62 runs and 2 golf courses. It never got there. It got bankruptcy instead. Now the line items nobody warns you about. A single high-speed detachable chairlift costs $2 million to $10 million, and at the largest resorts, north of $20 million. A gondola runs $10 million to $30 million. Snowmaking equipment. The machines that manufacture the snow nature won't reliably provide anymore. Costs $500,000 to $5 million to install, and then $100,000 to $1 million every single season just to run it, in water, electricity, and labor. And lift maintenance alone costs $200,000 to $1 million a year per resort before you've sold a single ticket. You are not just running a hill. You are running a small power utility that happens to have a chairlift attached. Now, the rules of the game, because skiing has more red tape than the powder day Instagram photos suggest. Most large American ski resorts don't actually own their mountain. They lease the terrain from the U.S. Forest Service under a special use permit, meaning your entire business sits on land the federal government can renegotiate, restrict, or in theory decline to renew. You can spend $150 million on infrastructure sitting on ground you don't hold the deed to. Water rights are the next trap. Snowmaking needs millions of gallons of water, and in the drought-prone West, those water rights are litigated, limited, and sometimes older than the resort itself. No water rights, no snowmaking. No snowmaking, and one warm December can wipe out your entire Christmas week, historically the single most profitable stretch of the season. And then there's the season itself. A typical resort generates almost all of its annual revenue in a 4 to 5 month window. Miss the holidays because of a warm spell, and there is no makeup quarter. The revenue that didn't happen in December simply doesn't happen at all. So how does anyone actually make money doing this? Here's the shift that saved the entire industry. Stop selling days. Start selling the whole season in advance. Vail Resorts pioneered this with the Epic Pass. Instead of hoping skiers show up and pay $200 at the window on a powder day, Vail sells a season pass for a few $100s months before the snow even falls. Cash in hand, weather risk transferred to the customer. Going into the 2024-2025 season, Vail had roughly 2.3 million guests already committed, worth close to $1 billion in revenue, accounting for about 74% of all skier visits, locked in before winter even started. Pass revenue climbed 4% even in a season where the company sold fewer total passes, because prices rose 7 to 8%. That's the trick. Decouple how many people show up from how much money you make. And just like golf courses, the mountain is rarely the whole business. Ski in, ski out real estate around a resort carries a massive premium over anything a few miles down the valley. And at the ultra-luxury end, private mountain clubs like Yellowstone, the entire model flips. The skiing is free, the real estate is the product, and a single home, the Pinnacle Mansion, sold for $155 million. Now, the architecture underneath all of this. Snowmaking isn't really about making snow. It's an insurance policy against a bad year, and resorts that can't afford full mountain coverage are betting their entire season on the sky cooperating. The pass model is a hedge against exactly the same risk, except it hedges by making sure the money arrives regardless of what winter actually does. And the real estate arm exists because, like a golf course, the lift tickets alone rarely cover the true cost of the mountain. Someone has to subsidize the operation, and it's usually whoever buys the condo next to the lift line. Now the cases. Because this industry has produced one of the most disciplined roll-ups in American leisure and one of the most spectacular private collapses. The success is Vail Resorts. By buying up mountains across the country and Europe and putting them all under one pass, Vail turned skiing from a weather bet into a subscription business. Even in a year when skier visits dropped 3%, profit rose 21% because the money had already been collected months earlier. The mountain became almost incidental to the revenue. The failure is the Yellowstone Club, founded by timber baron Tim Blixeth in 1997 as a 13,600-acre private ski and golf playground for the ultra-wealthy, with members including Bill Gates. In 2005, Blixeth took out a $375 million loan from Credit Suisse, and court records later showed $209 million of it went straight into his personal accounts, funding a $28 million French chateau, a $40 million Mexican resort, and a $28 million private island. The club survived. New owners bought it in 2009 for $115 million, a fraction of its $400 million valuation the year before. But Blixeth personally was later ordered to pay $41 million in damages. And Tamarack Resort in Idaho never even got that far. Planned as a $1.5 billion destination with 62 runs and 2 golf courses, it burned through a $250 million construction loan, defaulted on $262 million owed to Credit Suisse, and filed for bankruptcy in 2008 before the resort was ever finished. So let's run the numbers 2 ways. Optimistic scenario: you build a mid-size resort for $80 million, adopt the season pass model from day one, and pair it with ski and real estate sold at a premium. Advance pass sales cover your fixed costs before the season starts. Ancillary spending, food, rentals, ski school adds another 25 to 30% on top of ticket revenue, and the real estate arm turns your lift-served land into 8-figure lot sales. Payback: 10 to 15 years, with the mountain itself becoming close to self-funding by year 5. Realistic scenario: you build the same resort with debt financing, no real estate arm, and no scale to negotiate snowmaking costs down. One bad snow year in your first 5, which happens roughly 1 year in 3 in the modern climate, and you're covering $1 million plus in snowmaking and lift maintenance against a season that brought in half the visits you modeled. Debt service doesn't pause for a warm winter. This is exactly the mechanism that took down Tamarack. Here's the takeaway. A ski resort isn't really a weather business anymore. The operators who survive are the ones who found a way to stop betting on the weather at all. Vail sells the season before it happens. Yellowstone Club sold the real estate, not the skiing. Tamarack sold neither fast enough, and the debt caught up with it before a single lift turned a profit. The S&P 500 returns about 10% a year, rain or shine, snow or none. No $5 million snowmaking system, no Forest Service lease to renegotiate, no water rights fight, no December that decides your entire year. But also no mountain with your name on the trail map, and no $155 million house next to the lift line quietly paying for everyone else's season.